What is going on, everybody? What is going on? The Catch fam. Hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight, man. Hope you guys have all had a great Thursday. Hope you guys are ready for another live 2023 startup mock draft for the 2023 Dynasty Fantasy Football season. Tonight's format will be a Superflex format, tight end premium format, and we will be playing 3 wide receivers. Tonight's draft will also include third round reversal. Super excited to be here with you guys. Cannot wait to hop into another mock with you guys. So, y'all know what to do, man. Hit that like button on the way. And if you guys are new to the channel, all we do here is free fantasy football content all year round. Dynasty, redraft, and best ball. If you guys are into that, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button on the way in. And while you're down there, whether you guys are new to the channel or not, make sure you hit that like button on the way in. But most importantly, hop in the live chat. Let me know what's popping. Let me know how you guys are doing. Any fantasy football topics, redraft, dynasty, best ball, whatever it may be. Any NFL topics, get it going. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to talk some fantasy football. So, like I said, guys, super excited to be here with y'all. We're set to start right at 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, but I'll give it one more minute, and then we will get this underway. So I'll just send out one last warning on Discord. And we'll go from there. But yeah, I'll give you guys I don't know, a minute. If you guys missed your first round pick, it won't be the end of the world. You guys can hop back in. So, yeah, man, just excited to be here and to hop into another mock with you guys. So, we don't have a ton of fantasy or really any fantasy relevant news per se to go over today. But obviously, we've got a ton of updates in terms of the NFL releasing their schedule. So, we had an update on the Dalvin Cook situation, a report coming out that all signs are pointing to Dalvin Cook exiting the Vikings, but we've already been expecting that. So Dalvin Cook goes to I don't want to say the wrong team, but a particular team. It could really ruin the fantasy outlook of that specific backfield. So it's definitely a situation to keep an eye on. Plus, Cook is still a very good football player. So. But yeah, we were expecting that to happen nonetheless. All right, guys, we are starting the draft. Gave you guys an extra minute. Draft is underway. Remember, guys, third round reversal. Obviously, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, a tight end, 2 flex spots, and a super flex spot. And then we have 8 bench spots as well. I actually just noticed that the roster settings are not correct, but I'll just change it very quickly here. For some reason, the super flex spot was changed to a regular flex spot. All right, we are good now. Shouldn't affect you guys. We're good to go. All right. Let's see here. So we can talk a little bit about the schedule release throughout tonight's stream. I don't want to say there's a, I don't know. There's a lot we can look at there, but overall, I do think it's a little bit early to get too excited. You know what I mean? I don't know what is going on with the start of tonight's mock, but we've got 2 wide receivers off the board, so that's interesting. And now we got Bijan off the board as well. So this is a super flex mock. You guys draft whoever you want to, but just keep that in mind. Okay. Let's see who's in the live chat. Brendan, what's going on, my dude? Hello, hello. Brendan says, I draft Josh Allen for redraft, Joey Burrow for Dynasty. Yeah. I think I probably agree with that. It's very close. Burrow versus Allen is going to continue to be very close. Allen goes before Burrow tonight. In most drafts, he does go before Burrow. But I think the reason I put that as tonight's poll is because I do think that there are enough people out there who would consider drafting Burrow over Allen in Dynasty. Thomas, what's going on, man? Godfather, what's going on, guys? How's everyone doing? Thomas, excited for the NFL schedule release. Seahawks play Niners on Thanksgiving. It's going to be a good game. I'm excited to watch. I think that the Seahawks are really going to compete within that division this year. They did last year, don't get me wrong, but gonna go see that Philly or Pittsburgh. Dude, a Thanksgiving Day game would be a ton of fun. Shane, what's going on, my guy? Hello, hello. Godfather, watching the Nuggets Suns, hoping Nuggets pull it out tonight. I think the Suns are. I don't know. It could be close, but I think the Suns are gonna pull through tonight. Michael trying something new. Hey, I'll take it. We'll see how it shapes out tonight. We'll see how it shapes out. Looks like missing Taylor as well. Oh, there's Taylor. I want to make that a little bit more realistic. Give him Fields instead of the CPU pick. All right, let's see here. Godfather, Burrow all day. Give me the thrower over the runner for Dynasty. I mean, are you guys worried from a long-term perspective about Josh Allen? Now, a couple injuries popped up last year. Like, from a Dynasty perspective, how worried are you guys about Josh Allen? Because I'm genuinely curious, because I do think when we look at things, Allen has been arguably the most dominant quarterback in fantasy football. Maybe not even arguably. I mean, he's been QB1 or QB2 the last 3 years, QB8 in 2019. So I don't know. I just feel like there's been a little bit of negative feel around Josh Allen this offseason. And I don't know, man. I think like Allen's going to be okay. But I think the injury concern aspect is fair, if that's part of anyone's worry. All right, I'm going to try. Okay. I'm going to try and get NFL schedule pulled up in front of me so we can have some conversation about that as well. But yeah, one thing I want to keep in mind is like you're going to start seeing, like, and I think it's okay to do this. Don't get me wrong. But you're going to start seeing a lot of like rankings in terms of, best schedule for fantasy running backs, best schedule for fantasy quarterbacks, things like that. I think it's okay to take that outlook, but defenses just vary from year to year so drastically that I think that can be a little bit risky if you're basing your draft off of it in general. I don't know why it's so difficult for me to find the schedule. Albert, what's going on, my dude? Hello, hello. All right, I got it in front of me. All right, Lions Chiefs, first game of the season. They're really buying into the hype there around the Lions, which I don't particularly have a problem with. And I think that's a good test for a young Lions team, specifically the defense. And I guess the offense, how well can they battle it out with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs? But I still would take the favor. I'm assuming the Chiefs will be the favorite in that game, barring any major injuries. I don't get me wrong. I think that's a great way to start the season. We see what are the Lions made up of. What is this team actually going to look like? So I'm happy about that. So that'll be the Thursday night game, right? That'll be your first game of the year. I can't believe, we've got some time. But it is a lot closer than you'd think. We're less than 4 months away, which is just crazy how fast this offseason has gone. All right, Bengals at Browns, Texans at Ravens, Bucks at Vikings, Panthers at Falcons, Cardinals at Commanders, Jags at Colts, Niners at Steelers. Ooh, I feel like week one is, I don't know, not that exciting. Titans at Saints, Raiders at Broncos, Eagles at Pats, Rams at Seahawks, Dolphins at Chargers, Packers at Bears, Cowboys at Giants, the first Sunday night game of the year. That should be a good one. Bills at Jets is your first Monday night game of season. So, don't get me wrong. Season to season, so many things shift, so many things change. But Lions at Chiefs definitely sounds exciting. Bengals at Browns could get exciting. I don't know, though. I feel like most of these week one games are not that intriguing. Yeah, Dolphins at Chargers. And I think Packers at Bears will have enough good storylines. Bills at Jets will be really the talk. I think after you get the Thursday night game out of the way, Bills at Jets will be the talk of the week all week long. Godfather, in reference to Josh Allen, not worried mostly, but definitely plays a factor when it comes to other top tier quarterback talent like Burrow, Mahomes, T-Lon, Herbert, 100%. Thoughts on Jamar? Wait, thoughts on Jamar at 1.1. In Superflex, I'm not doing it, but we'll see how Chunk's draft turns out, because obviously part of his strategy is going to be later round quarterbacks, and starts his draft with 2 stud receivers, and Michael switching it up as well tonight, as well as J-Dubs. So we've got 3 teams across the board who did not go quarterback in the first. I think that's not too far of a stretch. Let's see here. Taylor, you're good, bro. It happens, my guy. I try to give you a realistic first round pick there. I'll go Drake London here. And then I'll decide what I'm going to do at 4.4. All right, week 2. I'm not gonna read every single game. That's probably gonna bore you guys to death. But we got Vikings at Eagles. That is your second Thursday night game of the year. That should be a good one. Seahawks at Lions. Chiefs at Jags week 2. Jets at Cowboys could be interesting. Sunday night football will be Saints at Panthers. Okay. No, I'm wrong. Sunday night football will be Dolphins at Patriots. We'll have 2 Monday night games. Saints at Panthers, Browns at Steelers. I was going to say, like, I'm not against, giving Bryce Young potentially the big platform and everything, but I'd be surprised if that was the second Sunday night game of the year, but Dolphins, Pats. So that's, let's see, Patriots. I don't know. That'd be a good game. Why not? All right, let me make this next draft pick. I'll go Cup here. Godfather, Lions have big expectations this season. But it'd be nice if they can actually win the division first before the media trying to put them on a pedestal. I don't necessarily disagree. I still think that the division's tough. Like I think the team that, as bad as their defense was last offseason, the team that's being most overlooked within that division, easily to me has to be the Vikings. Their defense was really bad last year, but their offense, even with losing Dalvin Cook is what we're expecting. Losing Adam Thielen, I think that they're going to be okay. You add Dwayne McBride, you go and you get a receiver in the first for a reason. It's not like they went out and got Jordan Addison for no reason. And then you still have Madison at running back, right? Still have T-Hawk and JJ there. KJ Osborne, I don't know. I just think that team is just being overlooked is all. I think they're still going to be competitive within that division. And the Packers experiment is going to be interesting. Then, still got the Bears there who are up and coming as well. So, I don't know. I agree with what you're saying. As much as I like the Lions, I do think on paper right now, a good looking squad for sure. Albert, Chiefs are 6.5 point favorites. Yeah, I would take that all day. Taylor, give me Lamar next time. Yeah, I did it kind of on the spot. Week 17 matchups. Yeah, we can skip ahead and then come back. First 2 weeks, like I said, some of those games will end up being a lot better than they look on paper, but didn't look entirely exciting. All right, let me get down here. Okay, week 17 for those of you who play best ball, but also for majority of fantasy championships. Jets at Browns, Lions at Cowboys, Titans at Texans, Falcons at Bears, Dolphins at Ravens, Saints at Bucks, Patriots at Bills, Cardinals at Eagles, Panthers at Jags, Raiders at Colts, Rams at Giants, Niners at Commanders, Steelers at Seahawks, Bengals at Chiefs, Chargers at Broncos, Packers at Vikings. So like I said, it's okay to start taking a look from a fantasy perspective at like what are the best matchups, but I'm just, like going into last season, like you look at a team like the Seahawks and say, oh, that's a great matchup. It did not turn out to be a good matchup throughout the year. Look at a team like the Rams and you'd be like, that is a bad matchup. The Rams defense was not good last year, especially in the second half of the season. Like, things just fluctuate at the defensive, I don't want to say position, but you know what I mean, in terms of defenses. So, and sometimes things fluctuate halfway through the year, So, it's a little bit tough, but I would say right now, if we're looking at Week 17 matchups specifically, the Bears are in a good position because they play the Falcons. Titans play the Texans, and we got to consider that. Colts, Raiders could just be a crapshoot, but like, I don't. Other than like Devontae Adams and Jacobs, I don't know exactly how we're going to exploit that. All right, sorry. Let me make this draft selection. Let's see here. J-Dub says Fens at Ravens. Nothing that makes my mouth water. Maybe Falcons at Bears. Yeah, I actually think that Dolphins at Ravens is a good call out. I mean, I do think both those defenses will play well. If we look at last season, when those two teams met, it was a complete shootout. Maybe something to consider there as well. Cardinals at Eagles. I mean, like, the Eagles season looks like last year, and they're competing for home field advantage at the end of the season, whether it's the Cowboys or the Giants or somehow the Commanders. This should be a game where the Eagles want to go out and score offensive points and win. So that's a good matchup on paper for the Eagles. Jags at Panthers. I could see that one being another situation where the Jags are fighting for the best possible seeding, and they're playing a young Panthers team. Put up a lot of points. We do have the Bengals-Chiefs AFC Championship game rematch in Week 17. Could be a game where points are scored. Packers-Vikings. Definitely could be a game where points are scored in Week 17. Definitely. And I think Jets-Browns could be interesting. Chargers-Broncos, like, sounds intriguing. But, man, Broncos' defense was stout last year. But that could be another situation where the Chargers are fighting for playoff contention. Steelers-Seahawks. That one I think we need to consider as well, because Seahawks defense was not great last year. Did I say the Seahawks defense? I meant to say the Steelers. Did I say Steelers? So I think that's one that I want to consider as well. But it's tough. It's one thing to start looking at this like, oh, these are matchups we want to exploit come August. But even like this early on is pretty tough from a fantasy perspective. Saints have a nice strength of schedule. I think the Saints are going to win that division this year. Sorry, guys. I'm messing with my... Notice my... I don't know. Okay, I got it fixed, I think. I noticed I was like coming out of frame a little bit. All right, so there's Week 17 for you guys. Yeah, overall, I mean, if there's any specific weeks or anything you guys want me to go over, let me know. I don't want to. We could literally spend the whole stream just going through this. So, I do have pulled up at the moment. Once again, things can change. The overall strength of schedule. So, the Eagles will have the toughest overall strength of schedule this year. Opponent win percentage will be .566. The Dolphins will be number 2. The Giants number 3. The Patriots number 4. Cowboys are number 5. Chiefs and Niners like right in the middle, and the Bengals and Seattle. Yeah, all those teams are .510 to .517. Jaguars have a very easy strength of schedule. Lions and Ravens a pretty decent strength of schedule. Jaguars in a good... I mean, part of that is because their division sucks, but... The Atlanta Falcons will have the easiest strength of schedule, then the New Orleans Saints will have the second easiest strength of schedule, followed by the Texans, Colts, and Titans. Part of that has to do with those teams' specific divisions. And, like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, any team can step up at any point, any year, so... We're looking at things very early here, but I do think that's something to consider. Usually the strength of schedule stuff is, I don't say more accurate, but it at least for beginning of the year. I mean, and like, I don't know. You could have a really tough strength of schedule and have a lot of fantasy or players on your team who are very fantasy relevant, even though it's a tough strength schedule throughout, whether it's the first 6 weeks, first 4 weeks, whatever. Thomas, something random. Seahawks locked up Jason with a contract, 100%. I did see that. Yeah, Bijan got signed today as well. Jason and Bijan both signing their rookie contracts. Small talks of Seahawks trading a 2024 second-round pick and something else for Chase Young. Of the Commanders. Yeah, we've seen multiple rumors out there about Chase Young potentially being on the move. Could happen. Might happen. Might not happen. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. I think the Seahawks be very interesting. I mean, I think the Seahawks are in a position where they're like not too far from really, really competing overall. Oh, Rodgers here. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing with my draft tonight. But yeah, I mean, I think the Seahawks what they've done in the draft. If they're able to get one or two big free agent signings that actually end up paying off, I like the Seahawks on paper a lot right now as an underdog team, for sure. So we'll see. But it's hard to trust loose reports. I mean, we had, we had reports that Derrick Henry was going into the Chiefs a couple weeks ago, and this and that, So I take it with a grain of salt, but definitely be exciting if they're able to land. I want to call him Chase Brown now, Chase Young, and utilize him to, his biggest capacity. Just a player who's had a lot of injury history so far throughout his career. All right, what do I want to do with this next selection? I almost went Kittle over Ayuk. I almost went tight end much earlier than I usually do tonight. I love the combination boss man of Kittle and Kincaid. I think that's awesome. I think I'm going running back with this next pick. I mean, I'm going to need one. Just give me Pacheco. You're good, Walito. Hopefully you can make something out of the squad you got there. It happens, my dude. All right, ladies and gentlemen, into the 8th round we go. But yeah, if there's anything pertaining to the NFL schedule specifically you guys want to go over, please let me know. Let's see here. Week 3, we got the Giants at Niners. Thursday Night Football. I think we're supposed to get some better Thursday night games this year. Should also help that the Broncos won't be playing every single game. Let's see what else stands out here to me. Broncos at Dolphins could be interesting. Chargers, Vikings. That should be good from a fantasy perspective. Bills at Commanders. Expect the Bills score a lot of points week 3. Patriots at Jets actually should be interesting. I think that Patriots defense is going to continue to be good as long as Belichick's there. Every game with the Jets right now just sounds intriguing. Like, I know some people are like getting tired of the Jets hype, but it's going to be there. Hopefully they don't turn to be the Broncos of last year. Bears at Chiefs should be interesting. Cowboys at Cardinals. Expect the Cowboys to score some points that week. Rams at Bengals. I'd expect that to be a good day for the Bengals. That's Monday Night Football. Okay, J-Dubs wants me to take a look at Week 14. All right, we got the Patriots at Steelers. That'll be Thursday Night Football. Texans at Jets. Ooh. Looking good for the Jets. Rams at Ravens. Panthers at Saints. Colts at Bengals. Bucks at Falcons. Jags at Browns. Colts at Bengals sounds good for the Bengals. Lions at Bears. That's always a good matchup. Seahawks at Niners. Always a good matchup. Vikings at Raiders. I mean, right now that sounds like two bad secondaries going against each other. Something we want to pay attention to. Broncos Chargers. Bills Chiefs. We know that's going to be a good one. Eagles Cowboys. That'll be a good one. Packers Giants. Titans Dolphins. I feel like Packers Giants could have some points in there. But yeah, Bills Chiefs, Eagles Cowboys, Seahawks Niners. Good matchups there. Lions Bears. Like, even if the defenses are playing well, you expect points out of those matchups. And I agree, yeah, Jets or Texans at Jets, but regardless, I mean, that's even better. That's even better. Jets having home field advantage there. But week 15. Let's just take a look at the Jets. The Jets play the Dolphins week 15. Then they play the Commanders week 16. Well, those are a little bit steeper than we'd like, but week 14, definitely a good position to be in. Give me the Charbinator. Are the Jets playing the Packers? No. No, we would have already heard all about that. But I don't think those two divisions are playing each other this year. No, I mean, that would have been like... They probably would have announced that like a week ago. To get tickets out, I don't know. Nah, we won't get that matchup. But if Rodgers still on the Jets next year, we might get it next year. Darn, what's going on, man? 6-spot, 14-man league. Last year took Eckler, Keenan Allen, Josh Allen, top 3. A 14-man league, Eckler and Keenan Allen stack was unreal. Let's go. Redraft or Dynasty, my guy. Love to see it. Ooh, I'm a little torn with what I want to do with this next pick. I'll just take Ingram. There's a couple players there I was down to take. But I'll take a tight end here. I mean, 4 wide receivers, 3 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, tight end. I can live with this start. So David Njoku, like I think continues to be a good value. I considered him right there. How do you guys feel about Njoku? Because like I understand, you know, he's on a contract with the Browns. Is a good thing. He's still relatively young, and now tied to the Deshaun Watson-led offense. So there's a lot of positives there. But what concerns me with Njoku is the injury history. I mean, and you look where it's put him as a finisher overall. I mean, like even being tied in 23 in weeks, or 2021, still put up decent numbers: 475 receiving yards, 4 receiving touchdowns, 36 receptions. But I don't know. I just feel like there's been a lot of inconsistency in injury history over time with Njoku. But also, like Watson and him haven't been linked together for more than a couple games, all things considered. So I don't know. Is it fair to be worried about Njoku? I mean, I want Ingram there, you know? I don't know if there's probably a lot of people, when you really break down Ingram, where there's a lot of inconsistency there too, and even some injury history. So I just like the Jags a little bit more than the Browns right now. Cat says, stop talking about Njoku, they'll catch on. You know, he's been like a hot name, and especially in tight end premium formats, like all off season. So I wouldn't be surprised if he keeps moving up. How do you feel about the Jags having back-to-back overseas games? Any bad effects? Yeah, I think the Seahawks travel the most this season. Like, don't get me wrong, I think that stuff definitely affects teams. I can be naive to say that it's not going to affect teams. I think the back-to-back games, like, I don't know, because let me pull that up. I'm just interested to see one thing. I'm interested to see, are those both London games? Because like if that's the case, it doesn't actually worry me as much. So yeah, they're both in London, different stadiums, but like the first game I'd be more worried about. And they're playing the Falcons, so I'm not that worried. Then they play the Bills. So like from a football perspective, yes, I'm more worried about that game, but from like the traveling and everything, like they're already going to be in London. Like they're just taking a long vacation and practicing in London or wherever they're going to practice, right? So I don't think, like, for me, the back-to-back games doesn't really bother me. Yeah, I don't think it bothers me. Do they stay overseas for the whole week? I would assume so, but I don't particularly know. All right, I'll go Greggy D right here. And yeah, I've been paying way too much attention to the schedule tonight. But that's okay. We'll see how I turn out here. Senior Cinnabone, what's going on, man? I'm doing good. How are you doing, man? We've just been chatting about the schedule release. Let's take a look at the Bears schedule. Let's look at the Bears. All right, so we've got the... Wait, I want to make sure this is not including preseason, what I'm looking at. I don't think it was, but I want to make sure. Gosh, every website you go to, like I'm just like, why can't this just be like listed? Thank you, ESPN, for making it super simple. Okay, it was right when I was looking at it before, but anyways, we have got the Bears will play the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau Field week 1. Week 2. Oh no, I'm wrong. They're at home week 1. They're at home week 1. That's good. It's my bad. Week 2, they're at Tampa Bay. Week 3, they're at Kansas City. Week 4, they're home versus Denver. So it's a little bit of a tough first stretch. I think they can hold off the Packers week 1, but I think it'll be competitive enough. Tampa Bay, like, I still wouldn't sleep on that defense overall. Defense didn't lose too many pieces over the offseason. They'd be a little bit more of a competitive game. Kansas City, Denver, I think are 2 tough matchups. That Denver defense is for real. Week 5, they're at Washington. I mean, I don't believe in Washington, but defense played pretty well last year. Week 6, at home versus Minnesota. That could go either way. Week 7 versus Las Vegas. I mean, that could go either way too. We'll have a little bit of idea of where the Bears are at week 6, week 7, but those are winnable games. Week 8 at the Los Angeles Chargers. That should be an interesting one. Should be a little bit of a tougher one. Chargers have a lot of flaws, but they do good things as well. Then they play the Saints week 9 at New Orleans. Week 10 versus Carolina. Week 11 at Detroit. They don't play Detroit till week 11. Play Minnesota the second time on week 12. And they get their bye week in week 13. Before they face Detroit at home. Travel to Cleveland. Arizona at home. Atlanta at home. That's good. And then they're at Green Bay to finish the year. I think the end of the schedule's good because, like, if you can hold off Detroit at home, that helps a lot. Then you're at Cleveland. Excuse me. That's a winnable game. Put it that way. But then you get Arizona and Atlanta at home. That's very favorable. Then you score off against the Green Bay Packers. I mean, at Green Bay. So this is a pretty good schedule overall for you Bears fans. Walito, love the schedule for my Saints. Seems like an easy one. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. Like the second easiest strength of schedule overall. Part of that is because, obviously the NFC South is ranked pretty low overall in terms of, the teams within that division are not great. So. But yeah, I think if you're a Bears fan, that's a pretty decent overall schedule. How's the Chiefs schedule look? The Lions at Chiefs week 1. Then they're at the Jags. At home versus the Bears. Let me make this draft selection. Go Gibby right here. Where was I? Week 4, Chiefs will be at the Jets. Week 5, at the Vikings. Week 6, at home versus the Broncos. Week 7, at home versus the Chargers. Week 8, at the Broncos. Week 9, at home versus the Dolphins. Week 10, the Eagles visit the Chiefs. That'll be interesting. Week 11, at Raiders. Week 12, at Packers. Week 13, they'll host the Bills. Interesting that they host the Eagles and the Bills. Chiefs at Patriots. Raiders at Chiefs. Bengals at Chiefs. And then the Chiefs will face the Chargers. That's... I mean, I still think it's a pretty favorable schedule overall. But there's some tough matchups there. For sure. Week 17 against the Bengals will definitely be interesting. All right, I'm going to continue to load up at running back. And then I'm going to basically finish out this draft with wide receivers. That is my plan. Two great picks there, Michael, Lazard, and Shaheed. I love it. Cinnabon might go to either the Chiefs game week 3 or going to the Bucks one week 2. Ooh, I think you go to the Chiefs. You can go to the Chiefs game. Might not be as pretty of an outcome, but at least you see Mahomes on the field. Right? Fields makes it a different game, but they gave the Bears 4 primetime games. Yep. Buying into that hype, man. Across the board. 3-2 start is the hope. I think that would be a great position to be in. Andrew, what's going on? Hello, hello. Tough schedule for the Bills. Let's take a look at the Bills. Let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, that division in general is just tough. I really think it's a tougher division than what's being talking about. So week 1, they are at the New York Jets. Week 2, they're home against the Raiders. Week 3 at Washington. Week 4 at home versus the Dolphins. Week 5 at home versus Jacksonville. Week 6 at home versus the Giants. The Jets, Dolphins, Jags, Giants, all competitive teams. Washington and Las Vegas still competitive. Week 7 at New England. Bill Belichick will do everything he can to beat the Bills. Week 8, they host Tampa Bay. That's like that in Washington. Week 3, and I guess Las Vegas. But still, that's 3 out of 8 games I would say are definitely in the Bills' favor. The rest are pretty tough. Week 9 at the Bengals. Yeah, then Week 10, they host the Broncos. Week 11, they host the Jets. Week 12, they're at Philly. They get a bye week. Then Week 14, they're at Kansas City. Before Week 15, where they host the Dallas Cowboys before traveling to face the Chargers in Week 16. Then they get New England at home. Then they finish the year at Miami. That is a tough schedule. I mean, easily out of the schedules we've looked at so far, that's got to be the most difficult one. So where were they ranked when we looked at it earlier? Yeah, I mean, they're up there. I mean, technically the Jets have a tougher strength of schedule. And obviously part of that has to do with, we talked about some divisions not being the best. This would be the opposite, where it's just a tough division overall. But yeah, not great. Not great. All right, I have got to draft some wide receivers. Give me Kayshawn. Yeah, I'm just going to wrap up things with wide receivers. I had to draft Gibson and Gainwell back-to-back just to get some help at running back. Being that I have 2 rookies on this team who are somewhat in committees. Love the Dwayne McBride pick at 15.11. Taylor, my team is in pretty good position to add Caleb Williams next year. I mean, I heard a weird rumor today that the Cardinals are doing whatever they can to land Caleb Williams next year, and that somebody thinks that in conjunction with that fact, the Vikings will be trading for Kyler Murray, but I think that is like a lot of smoke for me. I don't know. But yeah, Caleb Williams. I mean, there's going to be so many different rumors, and like you look at this past year, like no one like particularly expected the Panthers to just come out of nowhere and trade up to number one, and so I think there could be just a team that comes out of nowhere and gives up a lot of draft capital in order to go after him. So we'll see what happens, man. J-Dub's new regime, Kyler to Vikes. Yeah, like I said, take that with a major grain of salt. Just a loose rumor. I think I saw it on Instagram, which would be like the worst place to ever report a rumor. But yeah. Wouldn't hate that as a Kyler manager, to be honest, as Taylor. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'd be the worst place for him to go by any means. But, I mean, it can't be much worse than the Cardinal. Is Jeff Wilson slept on? If Miami doesn't sign one of these vets, he should be lead back. I mean, I wouldn't say that personally because Mostert's still there. Mostert and Wilson had a pretty even split last offseason. And then, of course, they added Devon A-Chain to that backfield as well. So, like, I think A-Chain will be used to his skill set. I don't think he's, like, necessarily going to take over the backfield. But I would say that Jeff Wilson's not the clear-cut RB1. Is he still a good value where you can draft him? Yes. But so is Mostert to that same argument, you know? So it's just tough. Is he slept on? Potentially. We've mentioned him quite a few times. And, like, I was talking about Mostert and Wilson quite a bit as good late-round values until the NFL draft. As soon as they added A-Chain, like, that's going to be an issue. But I definitely get what you're saying. I think it's fair to point it out. James, my JJ shares, wouldn't mind that. I mean, you know, you got to admit, Cousins and JJ have had a good chemistry. But, yeah, Kyler would bring a different depth there. Mostert's 31 and Jeff Wilson's 27. That's fair. That's fair. Let's see here. So, Jeff Wilson. Oh, gosh. I don't remember what week he was traded to the Dolphins. Man, it's just weird. Both of them coming from San Francisco ending up with Miami. I guess it's not that weird when you look at their head coach. Been a long night for me if you guys haven't been able to tell. But yeah, I mean 860 yards on the ground, 5 touchdowns on the ground, 185 receiving yards and a touchdown last season for Wilson. And then Michael says that's good enough for me. I'll take him. Oh, man, who do I want to draft right here? I guess KJ Osborne still has value. But yeah, sorry, getting back to my point there. Or not really my point, but just discussion. Raheem Mostert, 891 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns, 202 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. So, like, pretty similar numbers on the season for both guys. Yeah, I mean, I like both in late rounds. Don't get me wrong. I do. A-Chain likely only get a few carries a game, especially to start. I mean, to start, I think is fair. But I do think as the season progresses, he's going to be utilized to the best of his abilities. But, hey, by all means, like, if other people aren't as high on a player like that in later rounds and you are, then that's a good thing. That's a good thing for your roster, right? But I do agree, like, to start the season, one of those two guys is going to have a lot of good value. I can agree with that all day long. All right, ladies and gentlemen, final round is underway. Thank you guys for drafting with me tonight, man. Not my favorite draft of mine, but I'm glad we got to break down the schedule pretty intensely there. A couple of... I really like Jerick McKinnon still available right now. But it's a short-term value. And like I've already got Pacheco on this team. So I'll just take a receiver here. We'll just take Shakir. Take a chance on a Buffalo player. All right, guys, as we wrap up the last round, let me know if you guys want a team review. Taylor, I wasn't a fan of A-Chain until I saw Mike McDaniel's face in the draft room when they got him. I think he's going to have a pretty big role. Yeah, I mean, I just think perfect fit for that offense. Perfect type of player for that offense. They're going to utilize the crap out of him. Hoping Dalvin goes to the Bills so they can have both the brothers in the backfield 100%. That would be really cool. Could happen. All right, Shane's up first. He's still got one more selection, but we got Herbert, Watson, Mac and Cheese. I like that QB room. Knox and Jelani Woods I'm perfectly fine with. Oh, and you got Mandrews. Yeah. I saw that, but I didn't say it out loud. So definitely perfectly fine with this tight end room. JT, Henry, Herbert, Singletary, Evan Houle. Let's see who you draft right here, Shane. Let's see. All right, so Wilson off the board. Running backs are fine. Debo, Pickens, Dotson, Bateman, Evans, Elijah Moore, and then he added Wilson as your final selection. I like Michael Wilson. I think he'd be a good slot player. I mean, I like the Cardinals receiver room in general. I just... outlook isn't too bright, right? For the team as a whole, I should say. All right, so you're starting Herbert, superflexing Watson. That's great. Starting Andrews. That's great. Starting JT and Henry. I mean, long-term, not the best. Short-term, incredible. Starting Debo, Pickens, Dotson, flexing Bateman and Elijah Moore. So you have to figure out the flexes. I mean, you got Mike Evans, Singletary... But overall, your core roster looks very good. If Herbert hits, then I think you're in a really good position. Yeah, man. I think it's a pretty solid team. Not my favorite depth in terms of your flex options. But other than that, I think it looks just fine, man. Yeah. How do you feel about it? Quarterbacks definitely look fine. Tight ends are fine. Running backs look... I mean, everything looks okay. It's just the flex spots, man. All right, well, Lito, we got T-Law, Carr, Cousins. I mean, I can live with that. Obviously, for your QB2, you're going to be looking to draft one sooner rather than later. Pitts, Cade Otton, I'm fine with that. Walker, Eckler, Mixon, Monty, Gray, Penny. Yeah, running backs are just fine. Hill, Godwin, Jaden Reed, Mims, Thomas, Sutton, Moore. I mean, you missed a couple rounds, so I think recovering from that and having to kind of fade wide receiver, all things considered, it turned out okay. So you're starting T-Law, super flexing, Carr, Cousins. Starting Pitts, starting Walker and Eckler. Starting Hill, Godwin, and Sutton. And then in your flex spots, you're going to have to see how Jaden Reed comes along, how Mims comes along. Both those guys are candidates. Michael Thomas, if healthy, will be in your flex, maybe even one of your starting receiver spots. And you got Rondale Moore as well. So I think you've got enough options at the flex. And you've got good depth at running back here. Team looks pretty solid, man. And Mixon and Monty could end up being flex options for you as well. So I like this team. Yeah. A couple rookies sprinkled in there. I like it. It's a good draft. Taylor says 1.11, shred this dumpster fire. All right, so we're starting, or let's go through it first. Fields, Garoppolo, Tannehill. Ooh. I just wouldn't be overly confident. I mean, I don't think you are either, but yeah, I just wouldn't be overly confident in my QB2. I think Garoppolo's fine for the short term, but I'm talking 1, maybe 2 years. Komet and Conquo. Kuntz is going to be like, I don't know, man. He could be a little bit slept on right now. I mean, Conklin and Uzama are there, but Kuntz is I don't know. He's got some good film out there. Hall, Gibbs, A-Chain, Izzy, Hunt. Good long-term backfield. Addison, Johnston, McLaurin, Ridley, Lockett, Gallup, Hutchinson. I mean, yeah, a lot of rookies on this team. I'm okay with it. Let's see. You're starting Fields, Superflexing Garoppolo, starting Kmet, starting Hall and Gibbs, starting McLaurin, Ridley, Lockett, starting Kmet. Then your 2 flex spots. You got Addison, you got Johnston. I mean, those could very well be your 2 flex players. Your only other options are Nkonkwo, Hunt, Gallup, Hutchinson. I don't think Izzy's going to see the immediate volume right away. So, you got A-Chain too. I like this team actually. I mean, the quarterbacks, yeah, it's an issue. We need to draft one. But if these rookies hit, you're in a great position. I somehow skipped over A-Chain there. So, I think long term it's a good team, man. What'd you do tonight, Michael? You took Bijan at the 1.5, but we got Goff, Pickett, Ritter. Okay, little late round quarterback action, all things considered. Kelsey, Freiermuth, Jawan. I mean, you're stacked at tight end. Bijan, Dillon, Madison, Carter, Wilson. Okay, I can live with that. St. Brown, Metcalf, Kirk, Mike Williams, Lazard, Shaheed, Curtis Samuel. Interesting squad, but I don't think it's bad by any means. You're starting Goff, superflexing Pickett. You don't have a crazy high ceiling at quarterback. Starting Kelsey. Starting Bijan and Dillon, St. Brown, Metcalf, Kirk. Flexing Mike Williams and Madison. Mike Williams and Lazard. You got Shaheed there. You got Carter and Wilson, Samuel, like Jawan. You got a lot of good options for the flex. Your depth is very good on this team. Would have liked to maybe see another rookie sprinkled in here somewhere at receiver, preferably, but I think this is a good squad. You just don't have a crazy high ceiling at quarterback with Goff and Pickett. I don't know. If Ritter hits, he could be in a really good position. I do like this team, Michael. I like that squad. Not going to lie. All right, Cats, what'd you do tonight, man? We got Allen, Kyler, Mayfield, Bennett. Okay. Okay. Long term, it's fine. Short term, you're going to be relying on Baker. Sanders, Jones, Chase Brown, Zeke, Zach Evans. I'm actually okay with that. Like, for not going running back till the 8th, I think that's a great RB room. Olave, Diggs, Judy, Pittman, Jamo. Whew. Robinson, Thielen, wide receivers look just fine. And Joku and Laporta at tight end. Sorry, I missed that. So we're starting Allen and Baker, but eventually Kyler. Starting Njoku, Laporta, great tight end too. Starting Sanders and Jones. Starting Olave, Diggs, Judy, flexing Pittman. And unfortunately can't flex JMO to start, but I mean you've got Zeke, Brown and Evans, Robinson, Thielen, and Laporta. So you've got options. Long term, I think you're in a good position. You got some good rookie running backs here. You've got young receivers. I still like to see a rookie sprinkled in there, but I mean, you've got 3 sophomore receivers, and Pittman and Judy still at a good age. And then Diggs, a great veteran piece. Tight ends look fine. Quarterback's your biggest issue. QB2's your biggest issue. But it's a good-looking squad overall, man. Klondike at the 1.2. What did we get into tonight, man? Hurts, Richardson. Whew. Okay. Jordan Love is a QB3. I like the quarterback room. Musgrave, Washington, Fant. Can live with that, actually. I think Fant was a good piece for you to pick up. Get some stability with those rookies. Etienne, Stevenson, Swift, Kamara, Kendre Miller, Dwayne McBride. I love the running back room. But receiver, took a little bit of a hit here. We got Christian Watson, Josh Downs, Juju, Cooks, Beckham, Jones. Like playing 3 wide receivers, having 2 flexes. I preferably want to start 5 wide receivers in full PPR. So, I mean, you'd be starting Hurts, super flexing Love, seeing what happens with Richardson, starting Etienne, Stevenson, starting Watson, Juju and Cooks, Juju and Beckham, Juju and Jones, Juju and Down. Like you're going to have some fluctuation there outside of Watson and Juju, in my opinion. But the good news is you have Swift, Kamara, Miller, McBride to potentially fill in at the flex. And, I mean, you got 2 young tight ends as well. You can potentially play in one of your flex positions. So, like, you have some options there. And it's still a good draft from a startup perspective. Like, you've got good short-term pieces, good long-term pieces. But your wide receiver depth coming out of the draft would be a little bit of an issue. But other than that, I don't think it looks bad. All right, boss man. We got Lamar, Stroud, Purdy, and we got Hall. We got some interesting rookies show up on the board today at the quarterback position. But I think your quarterback room looks fine because I'm a fan of Purdy. Kittle and Kincaid, beautiful. Pollard, Cook, Bigsby, Jamal, Warren, good enough. Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams in the 5th is just stupid. Hopkins in the 8th. What in the world? Rasheed Rice, even a good value there in the 11th. Myers, Tillman, Dell. Man, I mean, typically, if you only draft 2 wide receivers before the 8th round, like, you're in a bad spot. You even went quarterback and running back in the 9th and 10th, but, like, your receivers, you got great value on receivers tonight. Would not count on that happening, but for the sake of tonight's mock, great value. So starting Lamar, hopefully superflexing Purdy, but it might be Stroud. You want to play Purdy, see what happens with Stroud for a little bit. Starting Kittle, starting Pollard and Cook, starting Garrett Wilson, Adams, Hopkins. I mean, your flex is like semi-shaky, but you got Rasheed Rice, Jamal Williams, Myers, Tillman, Dell, Warren, and Bigsby. Like, you got options. But yeah, I think long-term, this is a fine team. Like, I still wouldn't love this team. Like, I mean, Adams and Hopkins being your primary receivers outside of Garrett Wilson. Like, obviously not a lot of youth there. But if Tillman and Rice hit, you're in a really good spot. And Dell as well. So, I think you did balance that out very well. So, it's a good squad, man. I like it, actually. All right, JW, what we do, man? 2 a time, Danny Dimes, Trey Lance. I am perfectly okay with that quarterback room. Hawkinson and Hurst, I can live with that. Akers, Brian Robinson, Harris, Pirine, Tucker. Okay. Lamb, Brown, Burks, Mingo, Hyatt, Mooney, Moore, Thornton. I mean, you got a lot of good young pieces on this team across the board. It's pretty even peel. Nothing too crazy going on here. So, you're starting Tua, superflexing Danny Dimes, starting Hawkinson, starting Akers and Brian Robinson, I would argue, but you got Pirine and Harris. And you kind of have all committees at running back, which is a little scary. And even Tucker going to the Bucks. You're starting Lamb, Brown, Burks, flexing Mooney and Moore, Mingo, Hyatt, Thornton are options. The rest of your running backs are options. I like this team, J-Dubs. I do. But I think some of your upside's capped. But I think long-term, this is still a well-built team, which is perfectly okay. You don't have to come out of your startup draft with a team that's going to compete 100% right away. But, like, this is a good long-term team, in my opinion. Not my favorite draft in terms of upside, but solid. I figured I'd draft some running back starters who just have a rotation, even if they're a bit older. Yeah. Got to get some immediate value sometimes. Andrew, have a good night. Thank you for hanging out. We'll talk to you soon. Yeah. A lot of good teams tonight, guys. I liked Michael's team a lot tonight. I did. But I also liked Cat's team a lot. I just didn't like the quarterback position. J-Dubs, I actually think you have a good long-term team. I also like Bossman's team. Just a little something missing from that team. Not sure. Taylor, I actually liked your squad a lot. Just quarterback 2 wasn't great for me. Yeah, a lot of good teams. Hard to pick my favorite. I know you guys haven't even asked yet, but I was trying to brainstorm. All right, let's roast my team and wrap it up for the night, guys. I agree, Cats. I agree. Baker will definitely have the best weapons he's had since Cleveland. And I think he can put together some productive games. But, you know, if he can hold you over till Kyler gets back, this would be a very good team. I liked your team a lot tonight, man. I got my homies, Bryce Young, Rodgers. I'd be okay with that, but I'm really betting on Bryce Young here to take over by the time Rodgers retires. Ingram and Dulcich, I'm fine with. Pacheco, Charby, Roshan Johnson, Gibson, Gainwell. Almost went McKinnon as well, but I figured I'd just get more receiver depth. London Cup, DJ Moore, Ayuk, Boutte, Palmer, Osborne, Shakir. This team's fine. But I don't know. I think this team's okay. And I'm starting Mahomes, super flexing Rodgers, starting Pacheco. My RB2 is probably Gibson or Gainwell. We got to see what happens with Charbs and Roshan Johnson. But I think they're good long-term pieces who could have value this coming season. Starting London Cup, Moore, flexing Ayuk. My second flex, could be one of those running backs. Could be Palmer, could be Osborne. I think I want to see what happens with Kayshawn, but he's in a position to compete for targets with Juju. So, yeah, I like this team, but that second flex... I could play Dulcich in the flex. Don't get me wrong, I could play Gainwell, Palmer. There's options, but that's probably the biggest issue with this team. Overall, I think it's a pretty solid team, though. It's fine. Just doesn't jump out as crazy. How I got Mahomes at 4 made no sense to me, but... Interesting draft tonight. We had Chase, Hurts, JJ, Mahomes, Bijan as the first 5. We have not seen that happen before. So, interesting squad overall tonight. An interesting draft, I should say. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, we touched on the NFL schedule release today. We'll continue to kind of break that down throughout the rest of the week and weekend in terms of how that's going to affect us from a fantasy perspective to the best of our abilities. Like I said, so much is going to change. So much is going to change. It's not even funny. So yeah, that'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you guys to those of you who drafted with me. Make sure you guys smash that like on the way out. If you guys are new to the channel, thank you for being here tonight. Make sure you guys check out those links down below. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and join our Discord. Best places to get mock draft invites, as well as channel updates, and best places for me to communicate with you guys as well. J-Dub says drafting Falcons, Bears on Underdog. Let's do it, man. I might hop into a puppy in a little bit here, so I'll let you know if you're interested in joining one with me. But that's going to do it, guys. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for another draft. I hope that was good preparation for you guys as we continue to gear up. By the way, I think everyone has seen, but if you guys are in either of our Superflex Dynasty leagues, League 1 or League 2, both of the official draft dates have been announced, so make sure you guys go check that out. You guys have roughly a month for both leagues, but that's coming up, so we're just going to continue to keep practicing and doing as many mocks as we possibly can and continue to have Dynasty discussions. So just can't wait for the season, guys. Another step closer. We got the schedule. Really, really just can't wait for the season to be here and for fantasy football to be here. So, all right, man. I love you guys. Love this community. Love the Catch fam. Appreciate you guys so much. I really do. Everyone have a great, safe rest of your night, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Let me know if you guys need anything on Discord or Instagram, and that'll do it. With that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening, and remember, you saw it here on The Catch, and peace.